Hello everyone, I'm sorry for taking a while to finish this project because, well, I don't know, I had to deal with some stuff, but it's finally here. So what made me want to do this project was, a few months ago I saw this "Who's Your Disney Husband" filter and this guy popped up. I was like, oh, who's that? I look it up and it's Mattias from Frozen 2. A doll of Mattias already exists and I tried to get my hands on it, but I couldn't because it's not available here, and if I were to buy it from Amazon it would cost me $42. $42 for a Hasbro doll, I mean, come on, be for real. Initially I would just take the head and modify the body like I always do, but like I said in the previous video, I'm trying not to do that often anymore. Since I couldn't even get the head, yet I still wanted to do this project, I started thinking maybe I should approach this differently. Perhaps I could try to print a doll, and that's the approach I picked. I want to say thank you to those who donated a couple months ago. A good amount of money went into this project. It's quite an experience. For the head, I hit up a local 3D designer at Jelas Murah Studio 3D. I don't know shit about any kind of digital art, so I commissioned him to 3D sculpt the head, and after a few revisions, he came through. As someone who focuses on customizing boy dolls with a niche at that, my options for the doll base are very limited. Monster High boy dolls like this has pretty good articulations, but the silhouette isn't really for me. Like, it takes a lot of work for it to match my aesthetic. These cheap action figures just look weird to begin with, not a big fan of the construction. And the ones that are closer to my taste are always hard to come by and expensive, so... As for the body, I thought BJD was my only option. No offense to the BJDers out there, but I personally don't dig it. First of all, BJDs are expensive as fuck. And I just don't like the idea of pieces being held together by elastics, but that's just me. But I found something that's beyond perfect. It's the Alpha action figure by 3D Zip Guy. The silhouette is exactly my taste and the parts are assembled with zip ties, which I think is very genius. And the files are only $20, I mean, even I could afford it. Link in the description down below. Throughout this video, I'm still gonna refer to this project as a doll because, well, I think people should get over the fact that action figures and dolls are the same thing. I cannot stress that enough. Like, get over yourselves. Alright, let's begin the process. Special thanks to 3D Invention for not only printing all the parts so well, but they also removed the supports for me. I don't own a 3D printer, so I had to get all the parts printed there. Thank you, 3D Invention. I printed this with PLA plus filament, already in the right skin tone, so I won't have to worry about anything. I put the print settings here. I printed the parts with PLA because I like the plastic look better than resin. Also, printing this with resin would have been like 5 times more expensive, and I don't have that kind of money, loofs. Here I'm blowing hot air from a hairdryer on all the parts, especially the hollow parts, to try to get rid of the string residue from the nozzle. Though this really didn't do anything, but I think the parts are pretty clean as they are, so let's just keep this. Because I printed the parts with filament, the surface is grainy caused by the layer height, and I want it to be smooth. Sanding would discolor the plastic and not to mention take a long time, so I'm not doing that. I decided to just spray it with sealant. Hopefully the buildup from the sealant would even out the surface, making it smooth. I'm actually gonna try out different sealants to see which one gives the best result. All of these are matte top coat. I have Ditan regular and Ditan premium here. The entire doll is made out of hard plastic, so it's okay to use this kind of sealant. And just for fun, I'm also gonna try sealing it with MSC. The Ditan regular gives somewhat a glossy finish. It smoothens the surface nicely, but the glossy finish is a deal breaker. The Ditan premium discolors the plastic quite drastically, making the color look dull. It smoothens the surface just fine and it feels nice to the touch. The MSC gives similar result as the Ditan Premium, but the surface feels a lot more scratchy. Here's the side-by-side comparison. I printed this extra head so I could test different sealants, and I'm gonna go with Ditan Premium. I'm gonna address something. A lot of you seem to put MSC on a pedestal like it's the best sealant ever. Sure, it's the best sealant for final doll heads, but for hard plastic like doll bodies? No. Don't believe me? Let's do a scratch test. Here I'm scratching the surface sealed with Ditan Premium with a toothpick, and as you can see, the scratches are barely visible. Then I do the same to the MSC sealed surface, and you see what I mean? We're gonna seal all the parts later. Now I'm gonna shave down the original sculpted hair because I'm gonna resculpt it with epoxy. It was intentional to not make the 3D sculpted hair very detailed because I could just manually sculpt it. This PLA material melts pretty easily, so I gotta be cautious. I sculpt the hair per section, carving squiggles and swirls as I go. Hopefully that will give the texture of curly hair. Mattias has this sorta short flat top hairstyle. How did I do sculpting it? I tried to sculpt the eyebrows, giving them texture, but I didn't like it, so I wiped it off clean. Here I'm resculpting the beard because it looks pretty flat. I also sculpt the nipples cause why not? We're done with the sculpting phase, what do you think? I paint the eyes, eyebrows, hair, beard, lips, and nipples just to throw in some colors. And now we can seal all the parts. Not gonna lie, seeing how many parts there are kinda intimidates me. I gave them all 3 initial coats. Now we can begin blushing with soft pastels. That's enough blushing on the face, I think. I also blush the body parts, just following the contour. For some reason, I find it easier to blush this doll. I don't know why, maybe it's the plastic? After I'm done blushing, I spray all the parts again with the Didon Premium. Now we can start the face up. I can actually draw on it with pencils, what do I know? Well, to be fair, it's a solid surface with a matte finish. That's not really rocket science. I'm just mapping the irises and the pupils because I'm gonna finish the eyes with acrylic paint. And the face up is done. What do you think? Is he recognizable as Mattias? For the final touch, I dry brush some gray paint on the hair because Mattias does have some visible gray hair. And of course, I'm gonna add body hair. I went a little crazy on the torso there, but whatever. Then I sprayed all the parts with the final coat of sealant. Time to assemble the parts into one complete doll. Sorry 3D Zip guy if you feel offended because I'm calling your work a doll because this is a doll to me. I'm just following the video already provided by 3D Zip Guy to do this. It looks complicated and it is, but not so much. Now he looks like a complete doll, right? But it's not without problems. One of the main ones is that when I hold the doll by the waist, the upper body would just fold back like this. I asked 3D Zip Guy about it and he confirmed that this is a known problem and he's working on it. Keep in mind I had to upscale this doll to 185% so it would be in 1/6 scale to match my other dolls. This problem is caused by the weight, which makes sense, but it's okay because if I pose him just right, he still can stand on his own and that's all that matters. Now, I wanna give 3D Zip Guy some unsolicited suggestions. First is about the interchangeable hands. He sculpted many beautiful hands in various poses. I printed a few here, but in order to change the hand, you have to remove the entire forearm. I find this to be a huge hassle. Take a look at this Monster High hand. It's just a simple peg with a round plate so the hand can swivel and move up and down. This is so much more efficient and you implemented this mechanism already for the shoulders, so I don't see why you couldn't do the same for the hands. Next is the joint piece. The sides of the piece are completely flat and that can be problematic because you don't know how deep you have to slide the joint piece in between the bicep piece and the forearm piece. Take a look at this Batman Barbie's elbow. There's this part that juts out on the actual elbow area. Not only this makes things more aesthetically pleasing, this also acts as a stopper so the bicep and the forearm can sit just right. I hope what I'm saying makes sense. That was my 2 cents, but overall I think the figure is great, the sculpting is awesome, it just looks really good and you put an affordable price on it. Moving on to the outfit, here's my attempt making it. The pants look okay, now we can start working on the shirt. And this is what it looks like. The shirt fits, it just doesn't look right at all. This was the moment when I came to the realization that, you know what, this project fucking pissed me off. I don't give a shit how, I just want to be done with this project. So I decided to settle for less. I chalked up this project as an experiment instead of a complete character. He's wearing only briefs to showcase his body like this is a printed doll, I don't care anymore. This is the height difference for anyone who's curious. He's still significantly bigger and taller than the other dolls. When I was planning this project, I was very excited because like, oh my god, printing a whole doll, I won't have to use epoxy to do body modification ever again. I can just have the 3D files edited, which I have the permission to do. But once I was actually working on it, I really hated the process. I loathed it. Like it didn't excite me, it didn't spark joy within me. First of all, there was so much waiting time. It took about a week to finish printing all the parts, and for some reason I didn't even touch it for the next 3 days. And then after I finished assembling the doll, I took a week off doing God knows what. I procrastinated a lot working on this. Second of all, I planned this project for months, and this might be my most expensive project, and the fact that it doesn't live up to my expectation is such a letdown. I don't have a real reason to actually hate the process of making this doll other than it's just not me, it's not my style. That's why this video is pretty short because there weren't many things to explain and frankly I just wanted to get this over with. It's not about the doll itself, I mean I think it looks good, it's presentable. It's the process that I don't like. I mean I'm glad I get to add printing a whole doll to my credentials and now I know a guy if I need something 3D sculpted. In the future, I might print doll parts like hands or feet or accessories, but printing a whole doll again? Nah, this is a one and done. I think I'm going back to my roots, doing massive body modification with epoxy. I like that a lot better as much as that stresses me out. So yeah, this is the end of this video. I hope you enjoyed it more than I was working on it. Like, comment, and subscribe if you want to. Consider supporting me on Ko-fi. Thank you so much for watching. Next project should be a lot more exciting. It's gonna be a collaboration. See you then. Bye.